Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through the complex stuff so you can get the key insights fast.
Today, we're digging into a venture called Opulage Bridge in Kenya.
We've got a mix of materials here: proposals, tech documents, team info, even some reflections on the problem itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our mission is to unpack it. What's the core issue they're tackling? What's their solution? And importantly, what kind of impact could this have both locally and maybe even for investors looking at the region?
Okay, let's jump right in. What is the fundamental problem in Kenya that Opulage Bridge is trying to fix?
Well, the documents consistently point to this significant gap between education and, well, employability. Students get educated, but they often lack the specific practical skills that jobs actually require.
A skills gap, basically. What's driving that? Sounds like it's probably not just one thing.
No, definitely not. It's multifaceted. One factor is a lack of accessible digital tools focused on building those real-world, hands-on skills. And then there's this disconnect between industries and education. What schools teach isn't always lining up with what businesses actually need. So you get graduates, but maybe not the right graduates for open positions.
Right, like two pipelines not quite connecting. What else contributes?
The sources also mention issues with tracking progress towards those big global education goals, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. It's often fragmented. And a big one, unreliable internet, especially outside the cities. The docs mention something like 40% of Kenya's population lacks reliable access. That obviously limits online learning.
40%, wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And finally, the way schools connect with organizations for things like internships or mentors. Often manual, kind of ad hoc, not systematic.
Okay, so a pretty tangled web of challenges. How does Opulage Bridge plan to tackle all this? What's the core idea?
They're proposing an AI-powered platform, and importantly, it's open source. Think of it as a central hub.
A hub for what?
For connecting students to mentors, linking them to projects aligned with those SDGs we mentioned, and crucially, connecting them to career opportunities. It's built with different users in mind.
Okay, let's break that down. For a student, what does it actually do?
For students, it's about getting hands-on experience, developing real skills through projects. It also acts as a matchmaker for jobs based on their skills and interests, and connects them with professional mentors for guidance.
Mentorship, that's key.
Definitely. And there's even a smart career guidance feature, using their performance data and stated interests to suggest possible paths.
Sounds really supportive for students trying to, figure things out. What about teachers? Is there something in it for them?
Yeah, for teachers, the idea is AI tools to help with curriculum development, maybe lesson planning. It also offers analytics on student progress. One tool specifically mentioned uses AI to generate tailored content correctly, potentially boosting teacher productivity.
So it could free them up a bit. And the schools themselves.
Schools get tools for managing their operations more broadly, and features to help them track and report their contributions to the SDGs. It's described as kind of a customizable ERP-like system focused on embedding sustainability tracking.
ERP, okay. Enterprise Resource Planning. So quite comprehensive. And businesses or other organizations, why get involved?
For them, it's about tracking their CSR, corporate social responsibility impact. It's also a talent pipeline, connecting them with students. And it helps manage those partnerships with schools sustainably. Plus, that mentor matching engine works both ways, connecting their professionals with students.
It really sounds like it ties everything together. You mentioned AI and ERP. What's the tech stack look like under the hood?
They're using React with TypeScript for the front end, the user interface, Node.js on the back end, Supabase for the database.
Okay, fairly modern stack.
Right. And crucially, it's open source with an MIT license. That means others can potentially use, adapt, and contribute to the code. It's also built mobile first, integrates with M-Pesa, the mobile money system, which is huge in Kenya, and has offline capabilities to deal with that internet issue we talked about.
That offline part sounds critical given the context. And the AI, where does that really come into play?
It's woven through quite a bit. Career guidance, like we said, helping teachers plan lessons, the mentor matching. They're also looking at using more advanced AI models like LLMs for predicting career paths and even generating curriculum content.
Wow.
And importantly, they stress using localized data, the Kenyan curriculum, local SDG priorities to make the AI relevant. Plus, that M-Pesa integration shows local adaptation, too.
So it's not just off-the-shelf tech, it's tailored. Has this actually been tested? Any results?
They report some positive results from prototyping. Things like 90% engagement from participating schools, over 75% satisfaction from organizations. And schools apparently saw like a 50% drop in admin tasks.
Those are pretty strong numbers for a prototype. What's the plan going forward? What are their targets?
Over the next year, they aim to scale up to 50 schools, keep developing the AI modules, and partner with 10 or more organizations.
Okay.
They're projecting over 1,500 active users within 12 months, tracking 50-plus SDG projects, and hoping for significant cuts in teacher workload and SDG reporting time, like maybe 70%.
Ambitious goals.
Yeah. And the bigger vision is, enhancing education for potentially over 100,000 students, facilitating 10,000 job placements within 3 years, tracking hundreds of SDG projects, and boosting economic growth overall.
And this clearly ties into those sustainable development goals you mentioned earlier.
Directly, especially Goal 4 on quality education, Goal 8 on decent work and economic growth, and Goal 17 on partnerships.
Got it. Who's actually behind this? Is there a strong team?
The core team mentioned includes John Kamau as CEO, William Maluki as CTO, and Joyce Weramu leading marketing. They seem to bring relevant experience and, importantly, local Kenyan expertise.
And partnerships are key for something like this, right?
Absolutely. They list existing or potential partners like Media Alliance, Yeki Playhouse, Limuru Girls School, Close the Gap, and even links to Kenya's digital literacy program.
Okay. And the inevitable question, what about funding?
They're reportedly seeking around $100,000 in investment, with plans for how to use it outlined. The total estimated project budget mentioned in one document was about $123,000.
And how would it sustain itself long-term revenue?
Potential revenue streams mentioned include fees for the school management tools, the AI lesson features, maybe job placement services, and that SDG impact tracking for organizations.
Makes sense. What about reaching more schools, more users? How do they plan to scale?
That open source architecture is key for potential global adaptation. Locally, they talk about using Edu ambassadors, digital marketing, and trying to partner with the government to expand reach.
Edu ambassadors, interesting.
Yeah, and they also emphasize low-tech design elements and using SMS for broader reach, again, acknowledging that digital divide.
Okay, so wrapping this up. For anyone listening, whether you're in Kenya or elsewhere, maybe an investor, an educator, what's the main takeaway here?
I think the key takeaway is that Opulage Bridge presents this really integrated, tech-enabled approach to a very real problem connecting education to jobs. It's not just one piece. It's trying to connect students, teachers, schools, and industry.
Right. It's the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And the focus on open source and aligning with the SDGs makes it quite forward-looking. It suggests a model that, could potentially offer significant impact.
So a final thought, perhaps. Given that open source nature and the SDG focus, how might something like Opulage Bridge influence things beyond Kenya?
That's the really interesting question, isn't it? Could this model, maybe adapted, help tackle similar education to employment gaps elsewhere? What does it mean for fostering innovation globally when you build platforms designed for local needs but share the underlying code? It really makes you think about new ways to drive development and share knowledge across borders.